So in these recent times when housing is increasingly becoming more expensive and interest rates are just going sky high, renters know exactly the dread of when the first of the month is approaching and you cannot cover rent. But this is not the time to bury your head in the sand. Growing up, I saw a lot of that. People in my community, in my apartment complex getting kicked out. And I recently just saw that in my recent apartment where I stay in. It just reminded me of why this video is important. And in this video, I will talk about what exactly you need to do if you cannot afford rent. If you can't pay rent for the month or for the foreseeable future, these are exactly what you need to do to help yourself. Let's get into it in this video. Stay tuned. Now for starters, if you know you cannot pay the upcoming month's rent or the next couple months rent, what you need to do to begin is negotiate with your landlord. That's the first thing you want to do. By flexing your negotiation muscles, you might be able to strike a deal with your landlord that prevents you from getting kicked out. Like I said, I saw somebody's belongings just outside in the open a couple of days ago, and that's exactly what you want to avoid, getting kicked out by not being able to afford rent. So it's best that you strike a deal with your landlord sooner rather than later so that you avoid getting kicked out. And here's the first thing that you want to do. Number one, you want to know your rights. Now it's absolutely imperative that you know your rights. Now the federal moratorium that was enacted to prevent, landlords and states from kicking people out for not being able to afford rent during the pandemic ended last August 2021 for a lot of states. But a lot of states are rewriting their own rules. A lot of states are rewriting their own rules, making it more affordable, making it beneficial for the renters, not only in the states but in cities and counties. So you want to know what exactly your rights are for your state, for your city, and for your county, and for your community. Now here's a pro tip. If you visit the HUD, the Housing and Urban Development site, you will find, just by clicking, for example, I click in the Maryland link right here, you will find that there's a lot of information getting pumped out almost daily about housing opportunities, not only for renters but for homeowners as well. There's a lot of information that's getting put out there, especially on this website, which is an official government website that a lot of people just don't know about. Millions and millions of dollars being talked about, being put back in the communities for our benefit, for your benefit. Now, being educated about the law in your state, about renting, about laws that prevent you from getting evicted, not only gives you a peace of mind, but it also helps you in negotiating with your landlord. It gives you a leverage to know exactly what to be talking about in the conversation that you're going to have with your landlord when it comes to negotiating about paying your rent. So it's beneficial to see what resources are available to you first before approaching your landlord to negotiate. So know your rights and know how to negotiate. Now the second thing that you want to do is approach your landlord and lead with empathy. It's so easy to become self-absorbed. As humans become more rash when approaching, our landlord and the people that we think are just faceless entities, just people and organizations out there that just want to collect a large portion of our paycheck every month, right? You want to remember that a little bit of kindness, a little bit of understanding can go a long way, especially in situations like this. As humans, it's easy to just approach the situation, whether it's a landlord or the building manager, and say, oh, you just want to kick me out. I know, you can't do that. You can't do that. Approach the situation with understanding. You want to build a relationship with your landlord or your building manager. If both parties know where each other is coming from, it makes it easier for everybody in that situation. Ask them how they're doing. Build a relationship, get to know the person, and help them get to know you as well. Not saying you should put your entire business out there. Establishing that relationship is important. If they know your situation, just a little bit of it, then it can give you leverage as far as them understanding where you're coming from, build a reputable relationship. And it also gives you leverage in point one, which is negotiating and having a leg to stand on. Now another thing, or a third thing that you can do, is provide realistic and honest solutions to your problems. For example, you might be in a situation where your kids will return to school in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, and you can pick up some extra shifts at your job. Offering up a realistic and honest solution to your landlord lets them know that you are actually serious about repaying or paying your rent. It's totally reasonable to make solutions based upon a specific occurrence or a specific situation. So you could say, I'm going to pay a deposit or a portion of the rent now, and when my kids go back to school, I'll pick up more hours and pay the remainder of the rent in a week or two. And your landlord will certainly can't understand that. Another option is to ask your landlord or building manager to apply your security deposit, which most corporations or most landlords demand. Apply your security deposit to this month's rent and then replace it at a later date when you have a little bit more cash. Or if you're in a situation where you're absolutely certain that you just need a month or 30 days or a short amount of time, you could ask to skip a month and then spread that payment over the remainder of your lease. So just being honest and offering up realistic solutions and dates to your landlord can certainly be understandable and agreed upon. It's just all about negotiating, being honest, offering up realistic solutions and dates and specific time of occurrence. And it's absolutely important, it's imperative that when offering up solutions and dates, you're not making your financial situation worse in the future. So if you're planning on giving dates, you're not planning on taking more loans or making it more difficult for you to pay the rent in the future by just putting yourself more and more in the hole. So you want to definitely keep that in mind. In addition to this, you might also consider bartering. And what this is, for example, offering up services in return for a cut of rent. So you might approach your landlord and say, hey, I will do landscaping if you take off X amount of dollars for my month's rent. Think of different scenarios that work for your situation. If you have a landlord, if you have a building manager or corporation, and approach them and offer those services. You might return from work, say, hey, I have a couple hours extra. I'm gonna, offering up a carpentry service or landscaping service, whatever you're good at, whatever situation can work for you, offer that and see if it's accepted. It definitely can work if you offer up service in exchange for X amount of dollars taking off your rent. Now, another thing that you want to absolutely make sure that you do, if you are able to get in any agreement with your landlord or with your building manager or corporation or entity that manages your property, is get everything in writing. In the professional word, it said put that in writing, because you want to leave a paper trail so that somebody don't come back and say, hey, I never said that. So if you are able to get everything in writing, that definitely helps you out. It helps your situation out. Now, there are lots of pro bono lawyers out there. You can definitely hit this link up that I have on the screen right here, and you can find a lot of pro bono lawyers that may be able to provide free counseling to low-income individuals and individuals like yourself who are just looking to, build agreements or build contracts that you can present your lawyers and get signatures and get everything in writing. That way you're protected. Now, it's important that I also mention this at this junction. Whatever you do, do not go further into debt. You don't want to put yourself further into debt. One thing to consider is you're not the only one who cannot pay rent at this point. It might be a comforting thought. I know that's easy to say right now, but it's actually one thing to put into perspective. It's easy to feel shame about not being able to afford rent this month or the next month, or not knowing when you'll be able to afford rent, but do not go borrowing money or trying to put yourself into more debt trying to mitigate this present situation. That's absolutely important to remember and absolutely important to avoid. You should definitely look into local housing assistance programs or eviction prevention programs that have emergency funds to keep you in your home. You definitely want to look into websites, for example, like the United Way's 211 Network, which is a great way to connect to resources in your local community, or other charities like the Modest Needs may also be able to help you. Your landlord may not even know about these resources that are built to help you, so definitely take advantage of those, do the research, and then present those back to your landlord in your negotiating phase of trying to keep your house and stay non-evicted. Another thing that you can do at this junction is bring in a roommate. If you have more space, even if you don't have enough space, my dad always used to say there is always enough room in a house with family. Find somebody that you can trust, somebody who you can vet them properly. Bring them in. If you have more room, like a 2-bedroom, bring them in. That way you can split the rent. Trying to share a burden is absolutely one incredible way that we solve problems. A problem shared is a problem solved, what people always say. So bring in a roommate, somebody you can vet, somebody you trust, who's reliable. That way you can split the cost and save some money or be able to help the situation. Something else you can do is sell something. I have videos on this here channel. By the way, subscribe if you are not, hit the bell notification. Your success is my joy. That's why I do this channel. I'm one of those people that if I give opportunities to you to grow, to succeed, I take joy in that. So hit the videos in my channel. I have videos on how to sell used textbooks. I'm probably gonna make a video about how to sell clothes that you're not wearing no more, clothes that you don't need in your closet no more. So sell something, go in your closet, go around the house, look for something to sell to earn some extra cash. That way you can able to afford rent. $1 adds up. Everything adds up. 30 days is all you need sometimes. If you can stay in your house for 30 more days, that's all you need. And lastly, you can get another gig, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber. There's a lot of side gigs that you can get. If you can't get extra hours at your job, you definitely can get DoorDash. and help the situation out that way. We live in the time right now where there's a million side gigs that you can absolutely do, be your own boss, make your own schedule, work around your schedule to be able to make some extra money to be able to afford rent for the next 30 days. Sometimes, like I said, it's only 30 days that you need. So there it is, some quick ideas on what exactly you need to do if you can't afford rent. Let me know if you've tried any of this, if you've ever been in a situation where you can't afford rent. Hit the comment section down below, drop some ideas in there for the community. We're sharing ideas on this channel. If you're not subscribed, please definitely subscribe. My name is RifleX. I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.